Hi everyone! In this video we will factor a trinomial with the form a equals 1. Factor x squared minus 21x plus 90. This is in the form of a equals 1 because the coefficient in front of the x, which is a, doesn't have a number here, which means we can fill it in with a 1. This is b and this is c. And to factor this, we're going to look at the last term, which is c, first. We'll come over here and we want to factor it all the way down. So we'll start with 90, and we always start with the factor of 1. 1 times 90 is 90. And then we move up in chronological order, meaning 2. 2 goes into 90 45 times, and then we can try 3. 3 times 30 is 90. 4 does not work. The 5 evenly goes into 90. 5 times 18. 6 evenly goes into 90 times 15. 7 does not go in evenly to 90, and neither does 8, but 9 does. 9 times 10. Now if I were to continue going, notice the next number would be 10, which is already here, which means that we have found all of our factors, because if we kept going, we would just end up going down the other side of our factors here. So we know we're finished. Now let's look at our signs. This last sign, if it's a positive, it means that the signs that we're looking for will be the same. If this is negative, then the signs we're looking for are different. Because ours is positive, that means that we are looking for the signs that are the same. And looking at the first sign in our trinomial, this tells me what that sign is, that they are the same. And because it's negative, that means the signs will both be negative. So now that I know that both signs will be negative, I can fill in my list of factors here with all negatives. And I'm going to look for a combination of these that will give me the number negative 21. So we add these together and I get negative 91. Adding these together gives me negative 47. Adding these is negative 33. Adding these is negative 23. Adding these is negative 21. And just because we can do this, it's negative 19 here. But we wanted negative 21. If you can see that right off the bat, you don't have to go through all the effort of adding them like this. But it's good to see that that's where it came from. Now that I know that negative 6 and negative 15 are the two factors that I want, I will go back to the trinomial and replace this middle term with negative 6 and negative 15. So I end up rewriting this as x squared minus 6x minus 15x using the two factors we just found and replacing the negative 21 with that. And then we finish it with the last term, which was 90. Now that we have this rewritten as a polynomial with 4 terms, we can go ahead and factor this by grouping. So we'll group the first two and the second two. If you wanted to switch those around and do x squared minus 15x minus 6x plus 90, it also works, which means that either way you want to order those works and you can still factor. Now we look for the greatest common factor of the first two and the greatest common factor of the second two. The first two terms have the greatest common factor of an x in common, so we divide both terms and what's left will be on the inside, just like the opposite of the distributive, which gives me the first term x squared divided by x is x, and the second one, negative 6x divided by x, is negative 6. Now we look at the next two. The greatest common factor between negative 15x and positive 90 is actually negative 15. And what's left inside, negative 15x divided by negative 15 is x, and a positive 90 divided by a negative 15 is a negative 6. I again have two terms, and these terms are very large, separated by this subtraction sign here, and there's something in common yet again. In this case, the binomial x minus 6. If I factor out x minus 6 or divide it out of both of these terms, I am left with, in the first one, x, and in the second one, minus 15. I have now correctly factored my trinomial down to two binomials. We can check that this is correct by doing the FOIL method. This means that I multiply the first times the first, the outside times the outside, and the inside times the inside, and the last times the last. So we'll do x times x for the first, which gives us x squared. Outside is x times negative 15, so we get minus 15x. Inside is negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And the last times the last is negative 6 times negative 15. A negative times a negative is positive, and 6 times 15 is 90. Now we can combine our middle terms that are like terms. We have x squared minus 15 minus 6 is negative 21, and we still have the x plus 90. And we'll notice that that matches the original, which tells us that our two binomials that we've FOILed together are the correct factors, and we're all done. The answer is x minus 6 times x minus 15.